What you will notice is our radiator's gone.
I had to pull them all the way back here. Hell yeah.
I've got a surprise for you guys coming up. I'm pretty excited about it. I think this could potentially help a lot of you out.
$6.55.
It's pretty early. Today is radiator day.
These things? Yes, sir.
What are those? This is my place.
There you go.
They got natter days? That'll really start my morning right.
Got an arrow pointing to it.
I'm not looking at that shit. Everybody's gonna be like, why is Will lost in the driveway?
We're here.
Yeah, we made it. We've traveled many miles. Oh, look at all the Chevys, bro.
Heavy Chevys.
Sick. Yeah, that one's a dually. What a treat. Stuff's all frosted over. Welcome back to the old two-stroker YouTube channel. This is Will Garrett of Radiator Supply House, Icebox Performance. I got something real special for you guys today. We're gonna show you the process of saving that 359 radiator that you guys watched me pull out of that V12 truck that I got. I reached out to Will because he's one of the only people that can handle doing a radiator like this. It's an 8-row. These old big power trucks, they take a special radiator, and I know you're the guy to do that. This truck is really cool, and I appreciate you doing what you're doing.
Yeah, this is what we enjoy. You know, you can go build new radiators every day of the week, but this old stuff is there's just something special about it, and that's what we do here. So right in Sweet Home, Oregon, this is our niche. Is a lot of that old A model Kenworth, you know, the old Superliner Max, the old 359 Pete's, you know, going and actually doing something where people put an electronic motor maybe in an old narrow nose. That's just something that is difficult, and try to put a charge air cooler on that. We build these conversion packages for that. But what I love today is just saving an old piece of history. I mean, who doesn't like an old 359 with a V12 in it? I mean, that is just something that's awesome about that. So to be a part of this, thanks for reaching out to us. I know we have a local log truck we see running once in a while, Kenworth, with a big old V12 in it. Yeah. I mean, hear that thing coming down the road, it's just like, yeah, here comes that V12 with a load of logs. And so, yeah, it's pretty special.
That'll be probably pretty good that you got that stockpile, because we're probably gonna have to rate it.
Yeah, right.
Because that radiator's kind of a mess. So you're in for a real treat. I brought you some junk.
Yeah, well, thanks again for coming out to Oregon and touring Radiator Supply House and seeing how we build an icebox.
I'm excited about it. So you guys want to follow us? We're gonna go in here and check out this place.
Come on in.
All right. Is this one open? Yeah.
Well, as we call it, this is our boiler room here in Sweet Home at the Radiator Supply House. And yeah, it's a pretty neat story. Actually, the whole site here, this was a lumber mill from the 1950s. And 2016, we purchased this place and renovated it all.
Oh, that's
so what
cool.
you saw on the pond out here, that's the old log pond where logs would have been stored for the lumber mill.
I was wondering why there's a pond out there. Dude, that was mint. Okay.
Yeah, so it was the old Clear Lumber Mill. The Stock family is who owned this, and they owned it all the way up into, my understanding, the early 2000s. And it was one of the first state-of-the-art, like laser cutting technology mills here in the Pacific Northwest. So a lot of history here. And we were able, when we purchased it, to preserve some of the history. So what you actually see here, this is actually wood that was actually out of the third story in the big building where the machine shop was.
Is that a saw blade too from there? Damn, that's cool.
So this saw blade was actually in a big chunk of concrete. When we broke the concrete as we were cleaning up out here, the concrete broke open. Back in the day before rebar, they would throw steel into the concrete to kind of tie it together. And we believe this was preserved because it probably had oil on both sides of it. Yeah. And when it went into the concrete never actually adhered to it. And so it preserved it for all those years. And we talked to the family. They thought this was probably somewhere in the mid-50s when that would have happened.
Oh, wow.
So just kind of a cool piece. One thing you'll see, and this is what's really neat, I've never seen another piece on it. So with lumber, they stamp every lumber. Even today, they do this. So what this says is Clear Lumber Company. It's number 2 grade, and it's Doug First straight grain. And so we actually found that stamp when we were cleaning this up, the property. and that was from the mill here.
That's
back in
so
the day.
cool to be
it
able to
was
save that.
Really cool. So, yeah, a lot of history here.
Is it the same with the rest of the desks in here too?
So all
this
of
is all
wood
reclaimed.
Is all reclaimed from the building.
Wow.
And actually, something kind of cool. I'll just take you while we're talking about it. So these were actually the massive beams that held up the stories. So we cut those beams. And that's actually what holds up all these tables.
That's cool.
Just a lot of history from Sweet Home here. There's a little lake about 40 miles up the hill here, Clear Lake.
Okay.
And these boats were the rental boats on the lake. So
no way.
just quite a bit of history here that's been preserved. So, yeah, so that's a little history
That's awesome.
of the company itself. And you
The
can kind of see
entrance
our
is-
culture here. So.
Excellent. We'll kind of show you guys, we'll do a panorama here and kind of show you guys what's up, what we're seeing, but it's got a presence, that's for sure. I dig it.
Yeah, well, I think it's time to probably
Yeah,
go
you're
and
gonna
do a
show
little
us around.
Tour of the shop. So
Let's
let's
do
go
it.
do a
Yeah.
quick tour of the shop, and then we got to build a radiator.
Okay,
So we're gonna get our
yeah, I
hands
think that's
dirty
why
here
we're here, yeah.
so,
Let's do
yeah.
that. I love all the pictures you got.
So this is, yeah, everyone has a story, right? So there's something neat here. They're actually for your followers. This guy here, some of you may know.
Yeah, yeah, he looks familiar.
Good old
Yep.
Bruce Wilson there come out, and we built a radiator for his. It was his drag truck.
Oh,
So
really?
The one that does
Okay.
all the pulling, the sled pulling.
Yep.
So that Peterbilt. So we did
Okay.
a radiator, and he actually built part of his own charge air cooler. So
Nice.
yeah. Say we don't have a problem with drugs or other addictions, but we do have a Chevy truck addiction. So
I see that, yeah.
this was an idea that started. So Kenny May, who we're going to meet later this week, is going to help us go find some trucks.
Okay.
Kenny and I were bumming around one day and said, hey, let's do the Gambler 500. What you don't see is the trucks in the background are actually some of the trucks with more stories back there, but the one with the racks on it was our OG truck. Yeah, this is where it happens. We're just going to roll through this place, show you kind of what we do here.
Yeah.
So Radiator Supply House, our niche is the product that, say, Peterbilt, Kenworth, Cat, Komatsu, John Deere, when they discontinue it, we step in and start building it. So we got just over 7,000 SKU numbers that we've developed.
Oh, wow.
Everything from, JLGs to light towers to generators.
To 359s with V12s, right?
Peterbilt, right? So let's come in here. We're going to jump into this department real quick. Yeah, so right here is our drafting. So what we do is, once a radiator is sold, or if we have prospective radiators that we think will actually be good in the market, we'll bring them in here, and then the drafting department draws them all up. Everything from radiators with a crank box hole in it for like a front-mounted PTO.
Oh, is that what that is?
So that'd be a New York radiator. That would be what a lot of your snowplow trucks, they would have that for the PTO.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's people call it a crank box hole or a FIPTO hole.
That's pretty wild. I've never seen one like that.
And so we'll take this. This is a factory plastic radiator. We redesigned it, doing all aluminum heavy-duty radiator for that. We use the same core design as the high-pressure oil cooler.
Oh, wow.
So that's what we use there. This is an old Volvo piece of equipment.
I was wondering, it's super interesting. It's like really heavy duty looking.
So then basically what we have is all the plans, the original pictures of exactly how to build that radiator, oil cooler, charge air cooler. And so, yeah, so once it happens here, then we'll go out into the shop. It goes onto the plasma table. They start cutting parts. And so as you can see, these are all units that are coming up right now. This is stuff that's going to be drawn up in there. It's for development. Bum, bum, bum.
Look at the grills, dude. Sick.
So we like to have, our inventory all on hand. Our goal is to have a 70% fulfillment rate each day. So what is sold each day, 70% of it ships that same day.
Oh, wow.
So that is our goal to have out there. I'm not saying we hit it every day.
So this is all like aluminum, like cores and stuff then?
Yeah. So we keep all the raw materials so we can build just in time. So if you need a piece and it's an emergency, we need to get an excavator going, we need to get a truck going, we have all the material. We don't have to wait on anybody for those components.
Is that an old blade from the sawmill?
So that was found here, and we went and ran that through and put a little bit of who we are.
That's
and our
aces,
staff.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, very cool. So let's go out, we'll look at the boneyard real quick, and then we'll come back in here. And
The boneyard sounds like where I belong. It's my area of expertise. Oh man, we should have little carts for the tour. You
Yeah,
didn't tell
right?
me you had carts. Just conveniently hid those from me.
so yeah, everything is organized, kind of the old Dewey Decimal. You remember that in the library? Right?
Yeah, yeah,
That's,
yeah.
So everything is by SKU number that we have, by our part number. Of course, this would be our Caterpillar division right here. So this is all Cat product that we have.
Oh wow.
You know, if you have an old D6 or D8 or some old scraper, or we, good chance have the tanks on it. You know, even back to an old D47U. You know, we build the oil coolers for those early Cat D2s.
So now are these, like you mentioned having tanks, is this something that you would then pull off the shelf and duplicate for somebody, or would you, this is like used parts that you would sell?
So both ways. So what we can do in like this situation right here is
Just that's kind of an intricate tank, right?
we can build it new if we need to, but most of these don't need to be. So we'll do it in an exchange just for
Okay.
the Caterpillar product.
Yep.
We'll put a brand new core in that, restore these tanks like we're going to restore the 359 tanks today.
Okay, yep, cool.
And then put a brand new core in it, ship it out, do an exchange on that on the Cat stuff.
Cool.
But if need be, we can build a brand new unit here.
That's like radiator heaven
Everything
out
that you see here, we've built, we have developed. So every unit
Wow.
that is here.
Yeah, and it's
Again,
like there's
all-
no like duplicates. It's all
organized by, you know, Komatsu and Link Belt and Kobelco and
yep.
you name the brand of equipment, and
There's a lot of variety.
case and claws choppers, you know, for the corn chopping. And
Oh wow.
there's a Nebraska boy who probably knows about that
Yeah.
stuff. So.
May or may not be behind the camera.
Big V12s.
Yeah.
So as you come in, you know, we have everything in this side designed by, you know, our international product. Then we get into, we're a little bit of a mess out here, but we drag them out. You know, old Kenworth, Peterbilt side rails.
Yep.
You know, we hang on to all this old stuff if somebody needs it.
You kind of have to. I mean, it's not getting any easier to find.
Yeah.
Like when I called you, we discussed like, oh yeah, I got side rails for your radiator. Like, don't sweat it. Check here for a crack. Like, if it wasn't for Will, I would have never known to look at that thing for a crack. And luckily we did, because I was on the phone with you and we discovered a crack
Totally.
that I would have never seen.
Yep.
So we would put a brand new core. I would have put a brand new core in it if I did it by myself, and it would have cracked like a day later, and I would have been very upset.
Yeah, that's one thing you want to be careful for. I was going to see if we have one sitting here. All your early aluminum units, we want to check for cracks on those side rails, about 3 to 6 inches down from the top, 3 to 6 inches up from the bottom. Whether it's a model Kenworth, an old narrow nose, or a, you know, 359 Pete, you want to check those things, because that's a very common thing. And what happens, and a lot of people don't realize, when that crack happens, when it eventually cracks all the way through, you lose all your support for that core.
Yeah.
So those tubes start getting pulled out of the header plate on the core, and then you lose your whole core.
That's like the same
Yeah, that's a 359 top
upper tank right there. Yeah.
We're going to drop into the fab shop here. Yeah. So right here, you're going to see where those parts get fabricated. That's kind of the second step. We jumped in a little quick here, but we'll go down to the plasma tables and show you that. But
Yeah, because that's where it all starts, right?
all
You cut the
starts.
pieces, and then they come up here, and
So they start with the stuff in plasma cut, and then it comes up here. Actually, before it actually goes into here, there's a QC process to make sure it's cut perfect.
oh wow.
We actually have a QC station to make sure the stuff is just perfect on that.
Yep.
And then it comes in here and gets fabricated. And then once it's fabricated, we basically set it up, and the next welder up grabs the next job. So these are all the jobs lined up to go through. And I would say by the end of the day, most of these will be burned through here.
Oh wow. That's a lot of square inches of welding on some of
Oh,
those, man.
And these are small ones. We got some big units that
Yeah.
we could have looked at out there. But so this is where all the steel MIG welding happens here. Looks like a 359 tank you're working
Yeah,
on
sure
right now.
does.
So this is where the steel welding happens. For Lenny, cleaning it up, make sure he's got good welds. So we'll come back here a little later today. This is where we're going to tear down and assemble the Peterbilt 359 radiator.
Okay, mint. Yeah, all right.
So this is what's actually cool to get some footage of. You know, don't look at it with your eyes, of course, you know, but
Yeah.
you zoom those cameras in,
You can use your
always
safety
cool.
squints for that.
right?
I was saying right here, the cedar feels pretty good. I like that.
Up there.
Bro, check it out. Look, turn around.
building
It's
over
like
here?
Eating up breakfast. Y'all hungry? I love it.
Samantha getting ready to do some TIG welding here.
Oh, yeah. What are those for? That must be what, fan mounts?
This is going to be for a Freightliner.
Oh, okay,
radiator.
cool, yeah.
So this is those heavy duty construction units we did. It'll probably have a crate box hole in it.
Okay,
Or
yep.
like a Freightliner that would have a plow on it.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Always,
Very cool.
always fun to watch.
It cuts so cleanly,
Yeah.
you know? It just makes the cleanup so much easier. I'm jealous.
We have a little machine shop here. We got Gordy running the mill, building some washer bars, some big heavy aluminum washer bars. These are for from some big haul trucks that would go up either in Australia.
Oh, wow.
They use them down in the mines in like Nevada, Arizona, and then up in northern Alberta.
Yep.
This is where you would see these things. So big, like 797 cat haul trucks.
Yeah, that's
793.
that's thick.
This is your typical radiator repair shop. So where the soldering would happen.
Oh, really?
Yep. So it's
So you were saying like when you guys do my core, you solder the ends, right?
we will solder the ends. Yeah. So,
So-
on all aluminum and all copper brass cores, what we do is we kill the end rows of every unit we build because we know that with heat, expansion and contraction with anything, an oil cooler or radiator, what happens is if you've seen radiators, they're always usually leaking on the corners.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you kill those end rows, when those things break loose, they won't leak. And there's numbers, and I don't know if it's just it's been said by old radiator technicians, guys that had radiator shops. That was a field, maybe 5 years, maybe 7 years life extra,
Additional, wow,
extra
yeah.
life it would give to a radiator. So, but anybody that's been around truck radiators, you can always see the corners where they generally, start
Where-
leaking.
yeah.
For all that green's coming out. Or
Yeah,
red
oh
from
yeah, the
mass.
one that I sent you is pretty green in the edges, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So. Well, let's head on here into testing. This is the getting towards the end of the line. These are some of those aluminum units we were talking about that we do. So it's an all aluminum. We use a heavy duty bar and plate construction core. That core itself can take 150 PSI.
Oh wow.
The tanks themselves can't. We know a radiator is at 13, 15
Yeah, right. It
PSI,
doesn't.
right?
Yeah.
But we know these things can hold up. And if you go back, I'm allowed to say this on your channel, so if you go back and watch the Bruce Wilson videos,
Oh, okay.
we actually took a cannon and we shot one of these at about 50 feet about 6 times.
Really?
Shot it right here. You can go see it on his feed there. And then we actually tested that unit, just kind of a afterthought. We're like, let's test it and see if it leaks. And there were no leaks in it.
Wow.
And those cans, those Pepsi cans were smashed so flat you could actually see the impression of the fins in the cans.
Huh.
So just an amazing core.
You didn't tell me we were going to do any shooting
So,
today.
yeah, well that might come up too. We'll have to dial that in. So every unit we do here gets a test on it. So we test every unit. There is no spot testing.
In the Mountain Dew, right?
Test in the Mountain Dew, right? Yep. What do they say? Mountain Dew, it's for you. It'll tickle your innards. So then this is where everything gets QC'd. Scott does the QC work. Chelsea does the boxing, and Camden does the packaging here. So the
All
training.
right.
So, want to make sure that every unit, is built right, packaged well, ships out safely.
Yeah, because that's, I mean, the packaging's kind of everything, right?
And then once it finalizes, it comes through there. It either goes back on inventory or goes out the door in shipping. So this is all product getting ready to be shipped out today.
Okay.
We gotta
I
work
see
on
some
here.
junk that looks real familiar to me.
Yeah, this looks like a good old 359 radiator.
Yeah, let's see if these ratchet straps are still seized up.
Yeah.
Oh no, I did a good job. They're free all, dude.
Yeah.
We got to get them guys to sponsor me. I'm still looking for my free all sponsorship. I can't believe I pulled these out of a bin, dude, and they were just like melted into the earth, and they still worked. I couldn't believe
at
it. You know how to roll your straps like this, right?
No, I'm not a truck driver.
Me either, but nobody knows how to do that apparently. And it's like, it's key.
Okay. Let's do that.
Oh yeah.
Off we go. Look at that. Gorgeous unit.
Oh yeah, she's a minty old girl.
What you're gonna look for is right about in here, there'll be a really harsh crack. Now, and you said this is out of a, what year truck was it?
75.
75, so
Yep.
that's the era that it happens in. And what'll happen, and typically it does happen up here in the top, and this will shear all the way through here. If you see stress cracks on your old aluminum units, you need to stop right now and get that side rail replaced. Because it's a lot cheaper to buy a couple $100 side rail than a couple $1,000 core.
Oh yeah,
you
for
wanna
sure.
Pop that thing off and
Yeah.
get a new side rail put on that.
What'd you put on there? Is that tranny fluid?
It's yeah, no, it's flux, and so first we're gonna clean it up here with a little heat, little flux, so that when we start hitting it with our solder, it actually sticks to it. Because that's out of trial and error, and I've definitely found it doesn't stick as well if you don't do that.
So what we got is a 359 core. And what you're looking at is this international flat fin core, which would be like the OEM style. One thing we did do, which you can't see from here, is we have dimple too. And knowing that your truck's a V12 truck, we want to give that thing all the cooling we can. So these would have been typically a 6-row or an 8-row from the factory back then.
Yeah.
Sometimes you typically, if it was a V12 truck, a 3406 truck, if it was a KT truck, they would have been an 8-row, 4.5-inch thick 8-row.
Yeah.
And so of course that's what we want to go back with your truck.
see if we can get good heat with that.
So what you'll see, one of the most important things here is that you're actually sucking that solder down inside the tube. So you want that solder to go down in about a 1/2 inch. And then what you're seeing now is the buildup there. And then building around each tube. And the reason all this is expansion contraction. So every radiator expansion contraction heat and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. As it heats up when you're using it, and then it cools down overnight when you pump it up and it heats up and cools down, that cracks these out. And anybody that's been around old truck radiators, most of the time you can see where they're leaking. It's in the upper corners is where they're leaking it. And so what this does is this keeps that from happening. Somewhere around 5 to 7 years, kind of the rough numbers they say that you'll give the life of a radiator by doing this.
Oh, what a treat.
What, are you done already, bro? Cheating.
He's working circles around
Cheating.
you, man, literally.
Almost no corrosion.
I don't think so, Tim.
There you go.
There we go.
No charge.
That's it, boy. Get in there nice and deep like.
I thought it'd be way more plugged looking
Yeah, not bad.
from the holes, I mean, that doesn't mean they flow all the way through, but.
5-row core. They use the big 3/4 inch tubes, which
Oh yeah, it is
personally am
5-row.
not a fan of, because if you break water into smaller streams, it's easier to dissipate the heat.
So then this would have been replaced already. At some point down the line, somebody put this
Somebody
in.
replace that, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So.
Look at that thing, dude. Ain't nothing left of it. Oh, you got it.
There we go. Look at that.
Look at the schmoo into her.
Look at
Bro,
that.
feel that. Like, words don't describe that.
How many twos to eat it? Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Hit it with your purse, Will.
Hit it with my purse. That's a merce. Yeah, I don't think we'll be reusing these.
Yeah, I don't.
These are side rails.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing we know a guy named Jesse. He comes prepared.
Yeah, no kidding.
Where do you find a spare 359 side rail sitting around?
Radiator Supply House.
right into the tube to the core, right?
That makes sense.
Notice that right there? That's a heavier bottom header.
Yeah, notice this was like very thick.
Right, so we do a heavy bottom header because that helps absorb some of the beating. So this is a common mistake when guys build them. The cool thing about Jesse is, like, radiator shops are notorious for putting radiators back together wrong. They'll put a side rail on backwards, they'll put a bottom tank on backwards, this is probably the most commonly one back in the day to mess up. Because in people's minds, this little flap right here goes to the fan side, because the fan shroud should mount to it.
You would think so.
You would think so, but that is
not the case.
Right? So this actually goes to the bumper side.
Yeah.
For the shutters,
Yep.
right? Some neoprene. So we love using this. There's still a lot of radiator shops that like to use the old cork.
I don't like cork, so.
Cork is so unforgiving. I mean, Jesse can probably
buy it.
Tell us all about how nice this stuff is, because you could put a little too much pressure on this and it just squeezes out. Maybe it doesn't look so good, but it will not leak. The other thing is, if it ever dries out on you, right? You got a leak in the radiator and it dries out a little bit.
Yep.
This won't crack and leak on you like a cork gasket. Hey, mess with him and throw some metric in there. Every third one, do metric.
We only build with bald eagles around here.
I remember my first day building radiators.
You've forgotten more about these things than I know.
Oh.
Click. Click.
Yeah, very good.
You gotta click it, bro.
Look at that top now, man. That really came out well.
Quick to the testing section. Plug me, Daddy.
Oh, yeah.
Can we dunk Parker?
We sure can.
Perfect. You're going in, bro. Is it sticky?
No,
It's just the color.
it's just this.
Yeah, it just feels like water.
Everybody takes a chance. Yeah, it's a powder.
Just a testing powder, and it's orange when you open it.
And then it turns green.
And then it
when you
turns
put it in?
green.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And then we have a water trough feeder on the side over there. So I turn it on Friday, and I go home, and then Saturday morning or Monday when I come in, it's already full.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it just shuts off. Like right now, it's shut off because the trough's off.
Scissor me, Daddy. I'm good.
Don't watch those yet. There's no air in there yet, so we're good. That's residual air. That's all that is.
Those ones don't count.
15 psi.
Bro, that's a completely different spot.
Yep, that's on top right there now.
Go right there.
Oh wait, look, there's another one right there. See it?
Yep. That's that crack coming back.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be chasing this thing for a minute. I'm
There's
sure
actually
of
two
it.
there. If you look at it, there's
Hang on,
there.
bro. Let me zoom in.
3 of them right now.
Oh
One
yeah.
on top and
Struggling.
then struggling.
Might be a little bit of a pain. But I might have to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
Gouge that out, re-weld them. It'll look a little better than the factory welds, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Your weld's the ones that weren't leaking, so.
perfect. But I'll get started on this, see how far we have to chase that crack and
Okay.
get going on it.
Oh yeah. Ruined.
All right, 15 PSI. And that's what we call a successful test. No leaks.
Sweet. How long you leave them in there?
Usually about like 2 to 3 minutes, just to make sure everything gets filled up.
Yeah.
The bigger units I'll leave in for about 5 minutes because they're like that big yellow Caterpillar we had in here. I'll do that one for almost about 5 minutes because I want to make sure that everything gets full.
Yeah.
So, but usually about 2 to 3 minutes and then that's it. Make sure I don't see anything. I do a full walk around of the unit.
Just like to give a huge shout out to Will and the fellas here at Icebox Performance, Radiator Supply House, making this possible. These 359 radiators, especially this big 8-row V12 big power stuff, is pretty hard to come by anymore. And you guys are one of the few shops still doing them. More importantly, you guys do them right. So that's what this truck deserves, and I couldn't have done it without you, so thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
no, thank
appreciate
you guys
that,
for
dude.
coming out from the East Coast. And yeah, this is our specialty, doing these older 359s, older A models. And if it's back to like an original restoration, setting it up for your V12, your KT, your 3408, you know, not everybody knows how to do that, can do that. And the cool thing that we do, we've kind of been a collector of junk. So we have all the spare parts, you know, when yours came in, there's
Sure
a couple
do.
pieces that weren't good. We have lots of these side rails and tanks to actually bring it back and restore it to factory. So that's pretty neat when we get the opportunity to do that, especially what you're doing with the trucks and bringing them back and saving some history there. And then the other side that's really fun too is when you got the guys that are doing some new gen high horsepower, we build those conversions.
Yes.
To where you can add an air-to-air to this.
Yes.
Put an electronic engine in there, or, you know, we've even some guys take the old Cummins stuff and add an air-to-air to those old big cams.
Yes.
And so that's been something kind of cool. So we have a full drop-in replacement for these 359s. And it looks Peterbilt. It's mostly all Peterbilt parts, so it looks factory. It's not a Morphodite goofy. This looks correct.
That's how I originally found you, was researching in air-to-air for my 359,
Yeah.
the other one that we're building with the V12. And then I stumbled across, when I need a radiator for this one, I stumbled across the fact that you guys redo the factory ones too. So I was like, this is perfect.
Cool, cool. This has been a fun project.
It's been an absolute blast. I had an absolutely great time here. Everybody I've run into that works for you has been aces. Just super accommodating. Appreciate the hospitality. We've been tearing Will's house up for friggin' 4 days.
Yeah, it's good times.
No charge.
Good times.
So if you need a radiator for your classic Peterbilt, Kenworth, whatever it may be, I highly recommend you contact any of your sales team, right?
Yep.
Just-
Well, here's the thing. Call your local dealer. So if you got a Pete dealer, Kenworth dealer,
Yep.
your local radiator shop, wherever you're at, they know who we are. Icebox Performance.
Perfect.
And go support local. Buy from your local dealership, and we'll be there for you.
Very cool. Thanks for watching. Huge shout out to the patrons. Appreciate you guys keeping us afloat. We'll see you in the next one.
You tell me where you like that.
Looks good from my house, I feel
That
like.
looks good from your house.
What color is this?
I know you painted up on
Shouldn't
some.
we be painting this
Icebox
Alpine
blue.
green, dude? The Lord's color, man? What is
Come
this?
on, Icebox blue, baby. So then, being a radiator, unless you want it to look tacky, you got to get both angles, right?
Oh,
Look at that.
what a treat.
You gonna pull that?
I'll pull it.
Look at that.
How many times you staple your hand? 3.
3.
Yo, can I do it at a 45?
You can do whatever you
Hell
want,
yeah,
man.
dude.
Let's do it.
And then we could be like, when I get it back to my house, I could be all like fragile. You know what I mean? Like,
Fragile. It must be Italian.
Hang on, I gotta come around the other side.
That other
There's a
side,
radiator
good.
in
It's a
there.
Radiator, right?
Yeah.
Treat that thing with respect. There we go. Money, dudes.
Sick.